and I are here, and Tim will be on his way. I texted him. We'll dispense with the pledge until the next meeting, if that's all right, since it's in minutes.
Yeah, and you have a quorum. And you have a quorum, Dave.
Yes, yeah, 2 out of 3.
Okay,
Yes.
we're all set.
And so we'll move forward with acknowledging the generous gifts of our community for this month, which is items 3 through
23.
So
Yep.
Jim, do you want to move those?
Yes, I'll move those, right?
All right, and I'll second the acceptance of those by the recommended the full council. Any discussion? We did have a question. Jim, you mentioned earlier, are the benches going to be for the linear trail or throughout the park system? Sean, do you know?
I looked in the submittal and I don't see that listed there. I can find out. We can certainly email to folks.
Yeah,
The
good.
recent ones have been requested to be at Mixville Park, but these 2 in particular, I'm not sure where they'll be going. But I'll ask John to send that on.
But we do have a program where people could buy them throughout the park system then? It isn't just for the linear trail?
Correct. Yep, we've done some recently as of last year. I know we did one at Mixville Park.
Okay,
And they can be requested pretty much anywhere in the park system.
okay, that's good.
Cool.
All right. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing
Not
none?
for me. Nope.
No, all right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous of the 2 of us present. We'll move on to discussion and possible approval regarding transfer of auction proceeds in the amount of $15,386.08 to the capital assets proceeds account. What's your pleasure with the motion on this?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and move that forward.
All right, I'll second that. How often do we do this, sell assets? Is it, we tie in with auctions the state coordinates, right?
Yes. So periodically, the departments ask for transfers of those auction proceeds to help fund some of their more current equipment or vehicle purchases.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the 15,000 helps offset some items that might be in the operating budget or even the capital budget if there's.
Absolutely.
Right. Sometimes it's to help outfit, like a new plow truck, maybe a blade or something like that.
I think even in last year's capital budget, there was some equipment that had the use of proceeds from this fund
Okay.
that they're setting aside.
All right.
Is this only used for public works equipment, or is it also used for police department, fire department, so forth?
Police department, I know at least one of those 2 have a separate account, and
Okay.
I'd have to check, but it could be all 3 of them.
Yeah, I think fire does as well. We almost auctioned off when they had the Charger, but then we decided to repurpose the Charger to the police department. That's now the high school red Charger you see there. That's why, because it used to be the property of the fire department. So I know that they were planning to do that, and then we found a better use for it internally. So
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments, Jim, or from me?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Raise your hands. Passes unanimous. Item 25, possible action regarding acceptance and appropriation of a grant from the Open Space and Watershed Land Acquisition Program for the Ricky Fenn Road property. This is property that we purchased jointly with the Regional Water Authority, as well as a grant from the dealing with the Autobahn through the Army Corps of Engineers through the Land Trust, which was very generous of them to be able to work on that. And now we're receiving another grant, and it's going to be dispersed to reimburse those in the proportion to which they made the purchases, correct?
that is correct. So this was contemplated when we first went into the deal to purchase the land, as you mentioned, Mr. Barry, with the 3-party deal. And as part of that, due to the capital being raised by both the town and the Regional Water Authority, it was agreed on a proportionate basis that should this qualify for an open space land acquisition grant program of the state, which we knew wouldn't be eligible until following the purchase. We did submit, and we just got word last month from the governor's office that we were successful. And so, yes, the plan will be to accept the amount. And as you'll see in the motion, there is a reimbursement to the RWA for that share consistent with our agreement.
So we keep about 106, 107,000 of it. How much did we pay out? So what proportion of that is it?
We paid
Um,
225 or something like that.
We
Yeah,
pay-
no,
okay,
our
yeah.
share, right. Our share was 250, RWA was 225. And the
Okay.
land trust was.
So it's about
200.
40% or a little more.
Right. Yeah, it brings down significantly. And I had it here somewhere, but if you,
All right. No,
I can get you the number in terms of the cost per acre too, is just sort of remarkably low. Once you factor all of that in, it's really
Yeah.
ends up being a great deal for the Cheshire taxpayers, I think,
good.
all around.
We just got the newsletter from the land trust mailed and I was reading it with interest and this was a big part of it. So that's
Yeah.
good to see. All right. Jim, would you like to move that we recommend this to the council?
I mean, it'd really be a great deal, Sean, if you could ride bikes out there too.
I know.
So
Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. Yeah,
Maybe
I'll
mountain
move that,
bikes.
move that forward to the council.
Okay,
please.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous of the two of us. All right, and then the last item on the agenda, the longest potential discussion, why we set up time a little early, is to discuss potential bond refunding authorization and some opportunities for that with the low interest rates that we've got now. So I don't know, Sean, if you want to start with an introduction of the topic, or if we're going to go right to Jim, what's your pleasure?
I think we can probably just go straight to Jim. He'll give kind of a quick overview of what we're planning, but I guess very, very shortly, we are already planning, as you know, the general obligation bonds, new money bonds, as we do every 2 years typically. We are due to do that this month, actually later this month. But as Jim will explain, we also have an opportunity for refunding. And as I mentioned in my town manager's report last month, possibly a refunding if the state approves of Clean Water Fund loans, bonds, sorry, from the WPCD plan upgrade. But yeah, Jim, why don't you go ahead and explain what we're
yeah,
doing?
so there's two pieces here. The total resolution was, I believe, was it
33 million, 33 million. I think?
33 million. 11 million of that are some of our older bonds, general obligation bonds. Two are actually refund bonds that have already been refunded. So this is almost like refunding a second time around. So there are three issues that are the oldest ones that we have right now, that we have an opportunity to refund. And the reason normally we issue bonds in February, but we pushed that out a month just because the call date on a couple of these issues, we had to delay it a little bit so that we fell within the range of where we can actually call those bonds. In past years, we were able to advance refund if the rates were favorable enough. So we didn't have to wait in all cases for the call date to come around, but that's changed with some of the recent tax laws in the last few years. So long story short is we have about 11 million that we can refinance, kind of the same way you would, refinance your mortgage at a lower interest rate. I just emailed our financial advisor a little while ago to see how the markets were looking right now. Keep in mind the sale is going to take place at the end of March 31st. And rates have been creeping up in general. He said that basically the treasury rates ramped up quite a bit recently. I think with all the thoughts of vaccinations and stimulus on the table, that they probably got a little bit ahead of themselves, as he put it. but he did say that the munis have been holding pretty steady, and he expects that, you know, if they stay strong for a couple of more weeks, that we'll be, you know, in the money for some savings here. He threw out some numbers for this $11 million piece of between $500,000 and $600,000 if rates remain as what they are today. You know, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We have rating presentations this next Thursday, so we're getting ready for that. And then there's a second piece, and this is kind of an unusual one. We've never had an opportunity to refund some of our clean water fund notes, and so that's the other piece of this. That's the 22 million that gets us up to the 33 million. And our clean water fund notes are 2%. So, you know, I don't think we've ever had interest rates this low where we could actually consider possibly refinancing those. And I guess, unfortunately, we're kind of at the mercy of the state to approve whether or not they will let us refinance those. But I don't think that they will deny us that opportunity. It's just that they're a little slow with the paperwork, and I don't think by the time of the sale that we'll have permission, but I'm not sure. If they don't give us permission prior to the 31st, we will certainly go back out if the rates remain favorable, because that could be another chunk of savings there. So even if it's April or May or even June, if the rates remain favorable and we don't hear back from the state right away, we will certainly go back out and sell bonds to accommodate those clean water funds. So having said that, I don't know if anybody's got any specific questions, but I'm really hoping, as you know, we've been very successful with refinancings here in the past, and they certainly help at budget time because this will reduce our otherwise locked-in debt service.
Question, how long is our official statement good for? And also, how long is, and I'll be optimistic and realistic here, our reaffirmation of our AAA bond rating good for?
You know, I guess I want to double check how long, but my perception was that was not going to be an issue, that we'd be able to piggyback off that official statement.
Okay, good.
And also the ratings.
It's a considerable amount of work and cost. And if
absolutely,
it's up for 3 months,
yeah.
You know, that wouldn't want to do that. Maybe it's almost worth waiting.
Yeah, I did not get the impression that we would have to rewrite the book for that separate sale.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Good question, though.
All right.
I have a quick question, Dave.
Sure. Yeah, go.
So Jim, when you're saying we have an opportunity to refund or to refinance, you're just saying that the rates are there's below where we basically sold the bonds at, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And those bonds have met their call date, so they have to be
okay.
You know, pretty far along in their amortization for us to be able to take advantage of that under the current law.
Is there a cost to, I mean, is there a penalty of any kind to do a refund at this point, or no?
No. You know, and the fact that we're also, I probably should mention that we're selling new money bonds also on the 31st. So we're going to have a bond sale every other year. We've been on that track. It's going to be a $14 million sale of new money bonds. So this is going to be coupled with that. So there'll be some, I think, efficiencies by doing it all at once rather than having a separate sale for just the refunding. So, you know, as Dave mentioned, you know, it'll all be under this OS and under this rating.
Right. Okay.
All right, Tim, to bring you up to, welcome. To bring,
Yes, I apologize.
that's fine. I
a little
figured
late.
you're busy getting ready for the next meeting. We did the gifts and
Right.
all that, the usual stuff. And we're just talking about the refinancing, and Jim did a run through on the fact that we have the potential for some savings, and
Right.
interest rates are going in the wrong direction at the moment, but they're still lower and still potential savings, but we've got to be careful because
Right.
they creep up a little bit. So
They are. They are indeed.
The muni
Hey,
bonds have still remained pretty constant, so
Mhm.
keeping my
Oh,
fingers
okay.
crossed.
Okay. Dave, one thing I did notice, you perhaps noticed it too, on the consent calendar on the regular agenda for the full council, it's kind of lettered oddly. It should be A through U. If you catch up to that when you do it, they seem to start the alphabet over for some
oh
reason.
yeah,
I was-
N-A, oh yeah, ABC, okay.
Yeah,
All right,
I made sure they are different. Everything is different. It doesn't
Yeah.
start over
Okay.
again.
so there's no repeats. All right, thank you.
No, there's no repeats.
All right, are there other questions regarding the refinancing?
Jim, I had one quick question. Jim, once we approve this, you can pull the trigger whenever, correct? I mean, that's the bottom line here. We're giving you the opportunity to go
Yeah.
forward, should the opportunity arise. That's typically what we're approving. That you use your best judgment when the
Yeah.
value comes along.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping to do this on the 31st because that's when we're
Okay.
selling our new money bonds.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I suppose if for whatever reason the rates, had a spike upwards and then came down the following week, we could go back out again and do that. And certainly, we're also waiting for permission from the state of Connecticut to be able to refinance some of our clean water fund notes. So if we don't get that permission, we're probably going to likely have to do that subsequently. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things here. I hope this all works out and the rates stay favorable, because I think there's some significant savings here if that happens.
Yep. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, if we are ready to make a recommendation of the full council regarding that, there is a motion there. Who would like to move that?
So moved.
Oh,
Second.
all right, first, moved and seconded, and we've had discussion. Are we set to vote? All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimous. We recommend that to the council for their consideration. All right, that's our last item on the agenda. So we'll have a little bit of time to maybe eat before the next meeting or something. So I'll call for adjournment. Who'd like to move that?
Move to adjourn.
And seconded by.
Second.
Mr. Slocum. All those in favor, say aye. Aye, passes
Aye.
unanimous.
Aye.
We'll see you guys all in about 35 minutes.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
See you guys.
Thank you.
All right, see you then.